Dozens of active and retired firefighters as well as EMS paramedics attended a celebration at the United Way of Houston, highlighting 45 years of service.
This is a celebration, like you mentioned, of the 45th year of EMS here in the city of Houston. And really the EMS program and paramedic program provides a critical function, public safety function for this community.
Chief Bill Hossinger was an EMT in 1971 and received the very first phone call made by a young man whose sister was having a baby.
I was in the third school, paramedic school. It wasn't paramedics then, it was EMTs. April the 10th, 1971, I broadcast the first ambulance call.
And how was that? How did that go?
The man answered the phone and said 1818 Brackenridge. It was him. He was only 10 years old. And I called the station and gave it to this gentleman here. So he went and delivered the baby.
First responder Otis Owens described how he was dispatched to the man's residence.
Well, Chief Hossinger and Mr. Powell's over here made a call for assistance, emergency childbirth with his sister, and we responded. Mr. Powell initiated the call, and Chief Hossinger dispatched us from Station 19 to 1818 Brackenridge. And that was very exciting, happy, because we were the first unit that made the first call in the history of Houston Fire Department.
Larry Powers, who made the call to the fire department, explained how it all happened.
Oh, the day I made the phone call, I was walking to my sister's house. I heard some groaning, and I said, "What's wrong?" So I runs in the house, and she said, "Boy, get this baby out of me." I say, "What? What I supposed to do? Breathe, like this here?" She say, "Boy, do something." I run out the house. I ran to my mother's house, looked to see a blue phone dial 911, and called the fire department.
Dr. Debbie Harwell and students from the University of Houston recounted the history of the Houston Fire Department's emergency medical services in their Houston History magazine.
That was very special. We had interviewed the dispatcher and the two responders to the call. And when they came in, the very first thing they did was they had a recording of that call. And before we ever started the interview, Bill Hossinger punched a button on his cassette recorder, and we got to hear the actual call. And so then tonight, to be able to meet the person who had phoned it in was very amazing. And we talk about this in the magazine, that we just think it was so appropriate that these men had gone through all this training for all sorts of horrible medical emergencies that people might have, and yet the very first call was delivering a baby. And how appropriate is that the birth of EMS, the first call, was the birth of a baby.
45 years later, Dr. David Purse, Director of EMS Services, says he is very proud to see the progress and how it gets better and better over time.
You know, I think that the people of the city of Houston need to understand how fortunate we are. We are the home of the Texas Medical Center, the largest medical center in the world. And the influence that has had over the city's fire department in making sure that our EMS service is not just a good one, it's a great one. And they really set the standard. The medical community has set the standard. They won't tolerate anything less than excellence from the firefighters. And it's a continual challenge, and they're continually meeting that challenge.
Dr. Paul Pepe was the former director of EMS in 1982 and is included as part of the history in the magazine.
The Houston Fire Department has not only always been at the cutting edge, but really it has been a true leader in many respects in multiple aspects of emergency medical services as we know it today. And not only has it been a vanguard of things like incorporating a fire department-based service in terms of making sure that emergency medical services was medical services and having physician leaders, etc. But they really did cutting-edge research that not only benefited the citizens here in terms of having some of the highest survival rates worldwide for trauma, cardiac arrest, and other emergencies, but also now benefiting the world because of that research. It's unbelievable.
Fire Chief Sam Pena gave out special challenge coins that signified the success of these brave men and women.
I'm very proud to be here We had some original members of the EMS class here, and that's incredible. You know, we really are in the presence of giants and pioneers.